From January through June of 2017, more than 4,000 people have illegally crossed the border from the United States into Canada. More than 3,000 of them crossed from New York State into the province of Quebec. In recent weeks, the number of illegal crossings has increased to 200 per day, which suggests that now at the beginning of August, the total number may be closer to 8,000 than it is to 4,000. There's a word one might use to describe thousands of people illegally crossing the border of a sovereign nation. Invasion. The CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, loves to refer to these, arguably, invaders as asylum seekers. But you can't seek asylum in Canada from the United States. That's stupid. It's so stupid. Canada and the United States have an agreement preventing this, called the Safe Third Country Agreement. But by some trick of the wording of this agreement, that only applies at legal border crossings and train stations and airports and the like. So if you cross the border illegally, you've somehow circumvented this agreement and can make a refugee claim in Canada. Don't tell me the people who are doing this aren't doing it in a calculated fashion. The legal border crossing is like a few hundred meters away. That's somewhere between a quarter and a half mile. And they're crossing illegally, specifically to avoid being turned away due to the Safe Third Party Agreement. I'm going to read a chunk from a CBC article here. The NDP has joined many immigration lawyers in calling on the federal government to suspend the agreement for 90 days, arguing that the pact is forcing people to put their lives and limbs at risk by crossing between official border crossings. Of course the immigration lawyers want all that business. What the That's 8,000 new clients in 7 months. Fuck yeah. Fuck they want that shit down. Christ almighty. When this trend of illegally crossing into Canada began some months ago, it was mostly people from Middle Eastern or North African countries. But this new increase is apparently mostly Haitians who left Haiti after the earthquake in 2010 and have been living in the United States since. And now that the U.S. is telling them, you know what, it's time to go home, they're crossing illegally into Canada to attempt to make an asylum claim here. There are so many people crossing the border that we don't have anywhere to put them. And so they're being bused to Montreal's Olympic Stadium to sleep on cots. Many of the new arrivals have been pregnant women. And God knows, we are so slow that some of their babies are going to be born in Canada. And I don't know if you've ever heard the term anchor baby. My fucking country. We're a huge country with a tiny population. We're all of 36 million people. 5,000 to 8,000 people illegally crossing our border in less than 7 months is a huge strain on us. Our Canadian Border Services Agency, our Royal Canadian Mounted Police, are swamped with this. Our Immigration and Refugee Board can't keep up with asylum claims. We have to start looking at Sweden. Sweden's a country of all of 9 to 10 million people that is now, because they've taken in something like almost 1 million refugees, migrants really, over the past 20 years, they're starting to come apart at the seams. They can't afford to run their country anymore. They're running out of money. This is something I've said in one of my earlier videos. A wise man once told me, take care of yourself first. If you're not well, you're no good to anybody. We have to keep ourselves well, and it sounds, I don't know, greedy, callous, that means almost strictly financially. That we have to continue to be a somewhat wealthy country. Because if we just bend over backwards and spend out the ass money we don't have to help everybody, then we become a poor country, we become a failed nation, and we can no longer help anyone. It kind of sucks to have to turn people away, but you have to do that to be able to stay strong enough, to stay wealthy enough to help some. So you turn away some and you help some, and it's not fair, right? But I mean, the world isn't fair. The universe isn't fucking fair. Get used to it. Get over it and get some shit done. Fuck. Roxham Road. Once nothing more than a gravel strip ending in a ditch. A ditch denoting the end of Canada and the beginning of the United States, is now a 24/7 processing center for asylum seekers. The local municipality has filled in some of the ditch, building a footpath. You're building a fucking footpath. While you're building, build a fucking wall. I don't know if this is common knowledge, but the border between Canada and the United States is, in both length and time, the longest undefended border in the history of the world. There's no military presence on either side of the border. And here I am advocating for a fucking wall. Mexico did it on their southern border. The United States is working on it on their southern border. Maybe we should too. Relevant links to shit I said in the description. Maybe. I'm Irving Twin. Like, subscribe, or don't. It's a free country. At least it used to be.